Pleased to be joined by Doug Wead. He's was a special assistant to the president under George H.W. Bush, co-founder and original board member of Mercy Corps, and author of the new book, Inside the Trump White House, The Real Story of His Presidency, which is due out in about a week, but I presume you can pre-order on Amazon and all those places where you buy books these days. Doug, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hi, thank you, Dan. Thanks for having me.
So Trump... he resists until it becomes inevitable that this is going to take place, and then he leans into it to try and turn it to his advantage. Is that sort of what we're seeing here with impeachment?
Yeah, I think he knows in a way this impeachment, he's inoculated against this impeachment because of Russian collusion. One of my big surprises in interviewing him and the family, Jared said Russian collusion was almost a blessing because it distracted the media with this ridiculous pursuit and allowed them to cut the regulations that they wouldn't otherwise have been able to do with the media hot on their trail and turn around the economy. Now, Russian collusion is providing a bit of inoculation against impeachment. I mean, you look at it and think, come on, give me a break.
Speaking of Jared, what is the relationship that Jared and Ivanka have with other senior staff in the White House, and how that's evolved over changes in personnel of senior staff, but cabinet members, senior advisors, both domestically, probably more Ivanka, and in the foreign policy arena, probably more Jared?
Yeah, Dan, that's a very astute question, and one that I had. I came away from extensive interviews with Ivanka and Jared, both in their home and in their White House offices. I came away thinking that no, Jared and Ivanka are not using the president's using them. He's able to get information he otherwise wouldn't be able to get. He's able to move quicker by having them say and do things for him that the bureaucracy wouldn't allow. And he's in a hurry. This man is in a hurry. I describe in the book Day One, where he brings up every issue under the sun and what he wants to do. So I was very impressed with Jared and Ivanka, and you defined their roles pretty accurately. And by the way, when I sat down with Ivanka Trump, she is the 19th son or daughter of a president to be brought into the White House. The national media was making it sound like that was unprecedented.
Right, that's true. And what's the relationship like between President Trump and Melania? I mean, were they estranged?
Hey, Amy.
Hi.
Yeah, that was another big surprise for me. What a couple they are. I mean, at one point, he was headed to a combat zone, and Melania wanted to go with him, and the Secret Service sat her down and said, no, ma'am. Only twice in American history has a first lady gone into a combat zone, and only after weeks and weeks of preparation. And Melania said, if there is anything that happens to him, I will be at his side when that happens. I'm going.
Aww.
And so on Christmas night, 2018, they flew out of Washington for Iraq. So I found them a very tender couple, and they joke, they banter. At one point, the president, with puffed up importance at dinner time in front of all the kids, he said, Melania, honey, isn't it great, this adventure I'm taking you on as First Lady? And she said, oh, yeah, thanks a lot. Right, thanks a lot. So
do you think they're
very
best friends?
playful.
Do you think they're best friends?
I think they are. I think they are in almost every discussion with the president. It didn't matter what the subject was. He would say, Melania says this, Melania that. She saw this on TV. I was very surprised by that.
Now, I had a theory, and since you had like sort of unprecedented access to them over the last couple of years, interviewing family members, you'd be well positioned to confirm or deny this. My theory is that Barron Trump is running the whole operation, and everybody is just a front for Barron.
Yeah,
is that accurate?
Yeah.
I have to say something very funny. The night that they moved in, they all gathered in the state dining room for a quiet dinner after the inaugural balls, and they were exhausted. And in that quiet atmosphere, Laura shared with everybody that she was pregnant. Well, meanwhile, the 8 grandkids, now they're 10, but the 8 grandkids were running through the state floor they were playing hide and go seek with Barron, and they were hiding behind drapes in the blue room and under chairs in the red room and screaming and laughing. And Barron was in charge of all this, their favorite uncle. And when Barron heard the exclamations from the state dining room, something's going on with the adults, he came running in, sweating, and he said, what? And they told him, well, Laura's going to have a baby. He said, oh, okay. And then he raced back.
Yeah, then he had to get back to work. Yeah, he got back to work. I don't have time for this.
That's right. He's stepping.
I'm trying to talk to my cabinet over here. Yeah.
So he's juggling the world of children and the world of adults.
So Doug Wead, the book again, Inside the Trump White House: The Real Story of His Presidency. What is like in terms of management style? You know, there's been a lot of criticism of the Trump White House as chaotic. This is repeated over and over again by the Beltway media. In your interactions with the family and in the context of their day-to-day lives, there's always going to be some element of chaos. But do you find a president who is sort of firmly in control of his schedule and his agenda and the rationale behind both?
You know, Dan, I'm so sorry to all the critics, but I came away deeply impressed. And I found online Sun Tzu said that chaos leads to opportunity. And I suspected going in that a lot of this that was going on was calculated. I came away believing it's all calculated. It's marvelous. He's found so many shameful secrets of the American government, especially the last 16 years under Republican and Democrat leadership, including, for example, Americans held hostage abroad. And he has taken each one of those on one by one. And the greatest testament to his legacy is they won't be reversed. The new treaty with Mexico and Canada, that won't be reversed. The new president isn't going to refund $100 billion to the NATO nations. All these things that the media screamed about will not be reversed by a new president.
And you mentioned in your book what made Donald Trump decide to run for president. Can you tell us?
Yeah, it was a lifetime of clipping. Ivanka as a little girl remembers him opening up the New York Times in the morning and just frustrated, and all through their lives. Tiffany says this was a part of our life for as long as I can remember. So it didn't happen at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, as Bill O'Reilly and others claim. It was in his DNA for a long time. What finally allowed him to do it was the kids were old enough to take on the business. He's a businessman, and when he felt he could trust the business in their hands, that was the final straw. He said, I got to do this thing. He was hoping somebody else would do it.
He's expressed some public displeasure with appointments he has made, nominations he has put forward that haven't panned out the way that he hoped they would. Jeff Sessions comes to mind, but it's not limited to Jeff Sessions. Is there anybody that you discussed in terms of his inner circle or in a key position in his administration that he was really disappointed with, that we haven't otherwise heard? Or did he give you any insight into sort of what his assessment process is with any appointment that he makes or nominee he puts forward? In other words, what's the standard he's trying to hold people to, and what's the one or two things, if they do, they're done?
Yeah, bottom line is results. He wants results. It's nothing personal. He's a man in a hurry, and he knows he has a limited amount of time. Once during Christmas, when they all went to Mar-a-Lago and he stayed in the White House, Jared and Eric and all of them called him and said, Dad, we'll come back, we'll stay with you. No, you go, you have fun with the family. I'm going to stay here. And finally he admitted to Jared, he said, Jared, I own all these houses all over the world. I can sleep in them anytime. I can live in them anytime. This one's a rental. I've only got it for a short time, so I got to get my work done. So he was calling the White House a rental. And Jared told me there are two kinds of staffers in the White House: those who want to help the president save the world, and those who want to save the world from the president. And they're trying to put their team together still.
the save the help the president save the world versus save the world from the president, and that's the tension that we've seen play out over and over again.
Yeah, we have. We have.
He is Doug Wead, special assistant to the president under George H.W. Bush, co-founder and original board member of Mercy Corps, and the author of the forthcoming book out this month, 11/26, pre-ordered on Amazon, Inside the Trump White House, the real story of his presidency. Doug, thanks for joining us. Good luck with the book.
Thank you, Dan and Amy. Thanks very much.
Take care.
Yeah.